11th. So today's topic is enzymes. So let's begin with the topic enzymes. I think you all have heard about the word enzymes. Enzymes are basically water soluble, colloidal, organic micromolecules which are usually proteinaceous in nature. Okay, but they are found in the body of living organism. That's why they are biological in origin. They are used in little amount and they are capable of catalyzing the specific biochemical reactions. That means all the reactions which takes place inside the body of living organism, they are called as biochemical reaction, and the rate of biochemical reaction can be enhanced by the use of enzymes. I hope you have understood the definition of word enzyme. Let's move on to the discovery of this enzymes. Louis Pasteur, he proposed that fermentation is caused by specific chemicals of yeast cells. Okay, and the presence of enzyme was first reported by W. Cohen. It was Edward Buckner who first isolated the enzyme from yeast cell. Okay, so Buckner gave the term enzyme from two Greek words, that is en means in, zyma means inside, yeast. That means inside the yeast there was a chemical which was first extracted was enzyme. Okay. Now let's discuss the property of enzyme. Enzymes are polymeric organic compounds. They have very high molecular weight. Enzymes are wholly, that means the complete amount of enzyme is used, or sometime it is used in little amount, that is partially in chemical composition. Okay, and they are proteinaceous in nature. You might have heard about the word amylase, trypsin, pepsin in the digestion chapter. Okay, and the enzymes which are used in very little amount or partially, they are hexokinase, ATPase, catalase, succinate dehydrogenase. They are used in partial amount. Ribozymes, RNase, phosphate are two non-proteinaceous enzymes in which RNA act as catalyst. So these are some enzymes which are used to enhance the rate of reaction. Now let's see few more property of enzymes. Like you all can see, enzymes are required in little amount, so they are required in micro amount. Enzymes are biological in origin, that means they are found in the body of living organism. Basically enzymes are three-dimensional tertiary structure of protein. Okay, 3D tertiary structure which maintain the hydrogen bond, ionic bond, disulfide bond and hydrophobic force of attraction. These are biocatalysts and help in reaching the equilibrium constant faster by lowering the energy barrier. This is very important point. That means whenever any biochemical reaction takes place, so it lowers the energy barrier. That means the energy which is stopping the reaction will be lowered by it, and thereby the rate of reaction goes fast. We will be seeing reaction of H2O2 that is hydrogen peroxide, that how fast it becomes when there is a use of enzyme. Okay, enzymes are substrate specific. Substrate means the substances with which the enzyme binds. Okay, for example, maltase, sucrase, lactase, they can hydrolyze the substrate maltose. That means when maltose has to break into two molecules of glucose, then its breakdown takes place in the presence of enzyme maltase. That means if there is maltase, then this maltose, it get broken up into two molecules of glucose very rapidly. Okay, now let's see the specificity. Like enzymes are temperature specific. That means they become very reactive at a particular temperature, and that range of temperature is optimum range of temperature. We know that living organism body works at 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the range is 25 to 40 degree Celsius. That means below 25 degrees Celsius enzyme will become inactive, above 40 degrees Celsius they will become inactive. Now, some enzymes are intracellular or endoenzymes. That means they act within the cell. For example, the respiratory enzymes of mitochondria, they act within the cell. And some enzymes are extracellular. They are called exoenzyme, like digestive enzyme, which are secreted by gastric glands, salivary glands or pancreas, and they act on food outside the cell. Now, enzymes have high turnover number. That means the number of substrate molecule acted upon by 1 micromole of enzyme in 1 minute. Example, 5 million for catalase, 18 million for urease, 36 million for carbonic anhydrase, which is the fastest enzyme in the body of living organism. That means their number varies. Okay, now let's see the difference between inorganic catalyst and enzyme. That means the enzymes, the catalysts which are used in chemical reaction, normal chemical reaction, they are called inorganic catalyst, whereas the catalysts which are present in the body of living organism and which carry out biochemical reaction, they are called enzymes. So you can see these points. Inorganic catalysts are simple and they are small mineral ions, they are proteins. Their activity cannot be controlled by regulators. Enzymatic activity can be controlled by regulators, okay, which can change the concentration of protein molecules. Catalysts are not affected much by factors like pH and temperature. Enzymes are highly sensitive to change in pH and temperature. Catalysts can catalyze various reaction, whereas enzyme are specific to a particular biochemical reaction. So here there is an example of the enzymatic activity. Here you can see that carbon dioxide in our body combines with the water of plasma in the presence of carbonic anhydrase in RBCs. Thus, carbonic acid is formed, and this carbonic acid reaches to the lungs, where the breakdown of this H2CO3, that is carbonic acid, into takes place and CO2 moves out of the body. Now let's see the mechanism of enzyme action, that how enzyme reacts with the substrate and makes the complex, and thus product is formed. So just see this theory, that is lock and key theory, which is very important. So you all can see this diagram. Yes, look at here everyone. This is enzyme. This is combining with substrate. Like you can take the example of maltose, which is a substrate. This is maltase. This is just an example. It can be any enzyme, any substrate. So maltase plus maltose will make complex, and after this reaction, after the complex being formed, it will break into enzyme and product. So you see this substrate has changed into product and enzyme is recovered at the end of the reaction. Okay, so this lock and key mechanism, what does it showing? That enzyme has a specific site in which only a particular type of substrate will be fitted and will make a complex. That means only maltase will combine with maltose. No other enzyme will combine with maltose to carry out this reaction. Okay. Second thing what we have observed in this reaction, that the size of enzyme is quite big and the size of the substrate is small. Okay. I will be sending you the PDF of this topic also, so that it will be easy to understand. Now second thing which tell about the enzyme reaction is induced fit mechanism. This is another way of mechanism of enzymatic reaction in which you can see that this was first discovered by Koshland. According to this, like there is an active site. This is an active site of enzyme which combines with the substrate. Okay. Now what happens in this, according to this mechanism, like a particular enzyme when come in the proximity of the substrate, then it induces some changes in the shape. You all can see that the shape of the enzyme just get induced when it come across with the substrate. Like this A is going to fit with this B, C, D. That means there will be some structural changes. That means like it will induce the change in the shape of enzyme when it comes across with the particular substrate. Now next topic is Michaelis and Menton. They explain the mode of action of enzyme on the basis of activation energy, and they propose that in an uncatalyzed reaction the number of substrate molecule in transition state are less, so the rate of reaction is low, but the presence of enzyme lowers the energy barrier. The point which I told you is important. So more and more substrate molecules become reactive and react to produce the end product, so increase the reaction. You can see this graph. This is going to tell you that the reaction which are based on the enzyme, okay, they show the less activation energy. See this reaction, activation energy in the presence of an enzyme, activation energy of the uncatalyzed reaction where no enzyme is used. So which is going to be faster? The activation energy, you see here it has become low in the presence of enzyme. So enzyme can combine with more of substrate and using the less energy can carry out the reaction. So you see within less time this reaction is completed. But when there is no use of catalyst or enzyme, biocatalyst or enzyme, then you can see that the more activation energy is required, and thus the rate of reaction did not reduce, but it has taken more time. Okay, so progress of reaction is fast when there is enzyme, whereas the progress of reaction gets slow when there is no use of enzyme. So this is described by Michaelis-Menten hypothesis. Now we will be discussing about the factors that affect the rate of reaction. The first factor is temperature. We know that enzyme, they are temperature specific, and the optimum range of temperature, that is 37 degree Celsius. At this temperature the enzyme activity is maximum, and there is a optimum range of temperature, that means below 25 no enzyme activity, to below above 40 degree no enzyme activity. Then second factor is pH. That means enzyme are pH specific also. So they need optimum pH, that is 6 to 7.5 pH. Some enzymes work at low pH like pepsin, which has the like it acts on gastric juice. We know HCl is there, so it works at low pH. That means being acidic, the pepsin, this enzyme, will act on gastric juice which has HCl with low pH, that is 2 pH. So this is this pepsin requires low pH. Other enzymes, they work efficiently at this pH 6 to 7.5. Now some enzymes are active at high pH like trypsin, which act in the alkaline medium. You know, pancreatic juice, it shows its action in the intestine where the pH is quite high. That means 8.8 pH, because in intestine the pH level is high. But some enzyme which operate maximally at neutrality, like amylase, that is our salivary amylase, urease, catalase, they work at this range. So you can just understand the role of enzyme at different pH. The example of low pH is pepsin and the example of high pH is trypsin. So let's move on. Substrate concentration. So at constant enzyme concentration, increase in the substrate level, the rate of enzyme will increase, but up to a certain level. Like you are adding, I will again take the example of maltase and maltose. This is an enzyme, this is combining with maltose, and if you are like keep on adding maltose, that means substrate, in the medium, so it is going to increase the rate of reaction, but up to a level, because more and more active site of the enzyme molecule will be occupied. By lock and key theory, you have seen that a particular shape of a substrate is required. Once all the active site will combine with substrate, then what will happen? No more substrate can combine with the enzyme, and this is called saturation of enzyme. And this is stage of maximum velocity, after that there will be no increase of the rate of reaction, is called Vmax. And for this Michaelis constant, this is important, children. So see, for describing the substrate concentration, this is the factor I am discussing with you. Michaelis constant, he described about an enzyme at the substrate concentration, like it is difficult to like wait for overall reaction. So the Michaelis constant, which is denoted by Km, its value from substrate to substrate, because different enzyme differ in the affinity towards a different substrate. So like this Km is the substrate concentration at which the reaction rate is half of its maximum velocity. Okay, so maximum velocity will not be taken together, but half of the maximum velocity is calculated, which tells us about the rate of reaction. Okay, so this was first given by Michaelis. Now the next topic, next factor is presence of inhibitor. Inhibitor basically are those chemical compound which decrease, because inhibition means to stop the biological activity of the enzyme, and this phenomena is called inhibition. Now for this, the competitive inhibition, like sometimes certain substrate molecule, they show the similarity with the original substrate. Okay, and in such case enzyme will combine with those substrate because they look like the original substrate, but they are actually not. Then they become inhibitor, because enzyme will not going to show its reaction with such similar substrate. So in that case, such substrates will be called as inhibitor. Like they have taken the example of succinic acid dehydrogenases, which oxidizes succinic acid to fumaric acid. If concentration of malonic acid is added, the activity of succinic acid dehydrogenase decreases rapidly. Hence, malonic acid acts as competitive inhibitor. Now see here, succinic acid, it breaks into fumaric acid. In the presence of succinic acid dehydrogenase, okay, now suppose in place of succinic acid malonic acid comes, because it resembles in the structure of malonic acid, then this malonic acid will going to act as inhibitor, which is going to stop the reaction. So in that case, this malonic acid will be called as competitive inhibitor. Okay, you all can see this. Here active site of enzyme, here also active site of enzyme. Substrate is combining with the enzyme and substrate is supposed to combine with the enzyme to carry out the reaction, but in case inhibitor is present in the medium, then what will happen? It is going to block the pathway and this reaction will be stopped. So this is called competitive inhibition. Let's see the non-competitive inhibition. Sometimes the inhibitor is not structurally similar to the substrate molecule, so there is no competition for the active site of enzyme. Okay, so as a result, what will happen? The physical structure of enzyme is altered. This falls to form enzyme substrate complex and reaction fail to occur. In non-competitive inhibitor, many enzymes can be poisoned. For example, cyanide poisoning result inhibition of cytochrome oxidase, which is essential for all mammalian cell. The non-competitive inhibition can be reversed by increasing the concentration of the substrate. If suppose like in mammalian cell there is a need of cytochrome oxidase, and suppose in a cell cyanide goes, then what will happen? It will stop the function of cytochrome oxidase and this is going to create poison in the cell. Okay, so this is like not resembling the shape of substrate, but it is stopping the reaction. So such inhibitors are called non-competitive inhibitors and its reactivity can be stopped by increasing the concentration of the substrate. So this much for today. Thank you everyone.